How does the speed of an object in uniform circular motion behave? It remains constant. What is the unit of life activity formed when multiple organs work together? An organ system. What is the tissue that transports nutrients produced by plants called? Phloem. What happens if a feather and a steel ball are dropped at the same time in a vacuum? They land at the same time. How do oxidation and reduction of a substance always occur? Simultaneously. Why can specific functions be regained through training even after they are lost? Because brain circuits are reorganized. Which cells in the blood are responsible for immunity? White blood cells. Which pigment change is related to the leaves turning color in autumn? Breakdown of chlorophyll. What is the type of bonding in which atoms transfer electrons when they combine? Ionic bonding. What do we call the distance an object travels per unit time? Speed. Which two gases are mainly exchanged in the alveoli? Oxygen and carbon dioxide. What is the basic unit in the human lungs where gas exchange occurs? Alveoli. In what way is an electromagnet different from a permanent magnet? Its magnetic strength can be adjusted. Which planet is the smallest in the solar system? Mercury. In which direction does heat always flow? From a higher temperature to a lower temperature. By what method does a water purifier make water clean? Filtration and UV sterilization. In an electric circuit, what is the device that blocks the flow of current called? Switch in the off position. What kind of city is a smart city? A data-driven city. What is the electricity produced when a balloon is rubbed called? Static electricity. What is the rock called that forms when lava erupted by volcanic activity cools and solidifies? Igneous rock. What is the phenomenon called when sound travels around the back of an obstacle? Diffraction. If a galaxy appears blue in color, what does this indicate? That it contains many young stars. What is the most important organ for breathing? The lungs. What are the tiny sacs in the lungs where gas exchange takes place called? Alveoli. What are the openings in a plant leaf where gas exchange occurs called? Stomata. What do we call the large, dark, flat regions on the surface of the moon? Maria, lunar seas. What type of rock is formed when magma cools and solidifies without a volcanic eruption? Intrusive igneous rock. Which planet was the first to be discovered using a telescope? Uranus. What happens to an object as air resistance increases? It falls more slowly. What is the relationship between like poles of a magnet? Repulsion. Why are emotions and memories stored together? Because of neural connections in the brain. What is the sum of all the forces acting on an object called? Net force. What structure helps the brain respond quickly to stimuli? Neural networks. What is the main mechanism by which water moves upward from the roots in plants? Transpiration. What do we call the distance an object travels in a given amount of time? Speed. Which cells are needed for blood clotting? Platelets. If a compass is placed near an electric wire, what happens to the needle? It rotates. What state change occurs at the temperature where ice turns into water? Melting. What do you call rocks that are formed by volcanic activity? Igneous rocks. What do we call a nerve that contains both sensory and motor nerve fibers? A mixed nerve. Thanks for watching all the way through. Share your science knowledge in the comments. Your support helps us create even more science quizzes. See you in the next one.